Well, good morning. Good morning. So this is Svieta from homestagingstepbystep.com. I am the owner of this group, and I hope you guys are going to be joining me. As you're joining in, you can please type your name in the chat box, or you can go to StreamYard link at the top and just agree to Facebook StreamYard seeing your user ID on Facebook. So today, I hope you all had a good weekend, and it was a long weekend for you guys. So that's great. And what we're going to talk about today, it's a topic that is very important to me. And by the way, if you are going to be watching a replay, just let me know that you're watching a replay by typing hashtag replay. That would be really great. So the topic is very near and dear to my heart because I have been staging homes since 2006. When I first started, I didn't know much about it. And maybe like everybody else, I kind of assumed and thought that home staging is very similar or, equivalent to decorating. And as you're coming in, guys, welcome, welcome. Just type your name so I can see who is here. Or as I was saying before, go to StreamYard link above and accept for Facebook to give access to StreamYard so I can see who you are if you're typing your comments in the chat box. So we just started, and I've been debating about, posting this and doing the topic of why staging and decorating are pretty much opposite, actually. And I decided that I needed to talk about it because I do talk about it a lot with a lot of my clients. And I keep seeing this coming up in this Facebook group also in some comments, or people contact me privately. And sometimes I can just tell by their comments that they really don't get the difference between home staging and decorating. And it is super, super important. Why is it important? Because cosmetic, throwing a couple of cushions and maybe putting an artwork and putting a plant in the corner, that is not staging your house. That is not what's going to get you a lot of money for your house. I'm sorry. So I feel this is my obligation because this is what I do professionally. This is what I charge people for, my advice, and I'm not afraid to charge for it because the advice I give you will make you thousands, literally thousands of dollars. And I want you to understand exactly what's happening here and what you need to do if you want that. If you want to sell your house as quickly as possible, if you want to make as much money as possible, then really it's not going to be a service to you if I don't tell you the truth. And if I just keep pretending that staging is something that you can do in 5 minutes. I actually literally had a person recently who told me that she did not like my advice because she was not looking for anything substantial to do. She had a very old house. She didn't want to do anything. She only wanted 5-minute fixes. And that's what she said, 5-minute fixes. And I had to tell her, I'm sorry, you cannot expect to make a lot more money for your house if you're not willing to put a little bit of effort and time in it. And sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here. I'm doing a rant, but you cannot. So let's talk. I see people are coming in. Say hi, post in the chat your name, let me know, or go above to the link and just let me know who is there. Oh, I see Rosemary. Okay, so why so many? I was wondering, and I was asking myself that question. Why do so many people assume that home staging is the same thing as decorating? Or maybe it's the terms that are sometimes being used interchangeably by people who are not in the know, maybe by the media. I think one of the things is that because when you watch HGTV, and I love watching those shows, and I'm sure you do too, let me know who watches all the HGTV shows about real estate. Hi, Jill. And, all of the beautiful stagings that they show on these shows. So when you watch that, remember that what you're seeing is it's TV. It's a TV production. It's not real life. What you're seeing is the end result. So you're not seeing all of the hard work and all of the background and all of the preparation that actually went before you see all the, the beautiful furniture and accessories. And speaking of TV shows, I also want to assure you that what I'm going to teach you, it's not necessarily as elaborate or as expensive, obviously, as what you see on TV. And that kind of gives people the wrong impression as well, because it's so beautiful, it's so elaborate, it's so perfect that we all tend to think, oh my God, I cannot do this is going to be too much for me, I don't have the money to do this. But I want to assure you that you don't need to do this, okay? And I will teach you, I will show you what you can do with most of the stuff you have. Maybe it's not going to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So so what you're seeing on TV kind of gives you a wrong impression of what home staging is. So that was one thing. And I took a lot of notes yesterday because I wanted to prepare for this. And I have so many things to say that I did not want to forget anything important. So the other thing is what makes me different and why I do what I preach and why I firmly believe, and that's been proven over the last 15 years that I've been doing this professionally, is that doing just small cosmetic changes might help, but in the majority of the cases, there's a process, there's certain things, there's steps, there's certain things that you have to be aware of, and you have to go through them before you do the staging decoration, which is kind of the last step. And yes, it is a fun step, but before you get there, you have to go through a certain process. And I'm very insistent on that process, and I've always been, because it's been shown and it's proven that if you do the things that you need to do first, which might not be so much fun, but before you get to the decorating part, then this is where you'll demonstrate to the potential buyers, that your house is well maintained, that it's updated, that it's well taken care of, and that it looks beautiful and appealing to whoever the buyers are. Hi guys, I see people coming in. Just type in the chat box, type your name so I know who is here, okay? And for whoever is watching replay, please type a hashtag replay when you're gonna watch it. So as I was saying, I think that all of the preparation, it actually does pay. So people don't tend to notice it as much. What they see is the decor. And I have one of the people in this group a couple of days ago, she sent me an email, and she's asking me specific questions, whether she should be repainting her kitchen cabinets and doing some more major work before she sells, or, and I quote, she said, or do superficial staging with decor. And this is exactly the right words, okay? So with decor, it's like putting a Band-Aid, but you have a big wound, it doesn't cover it. So in some cases, it might be sufficient, but in most cases, it's not, and it's very superficial. So that is why I'm so insistent, and everything I do is I teach people to go through the whole process. Hi, Missouri, nice to see you. And then, you at least you look at it, and then you decide for yourself whether you want to do it or not. So some people might want to do everything. Some people might want to do 75%. Some people might want to do 50%, which is okay. But at least you take those decisions knowingly, and you know what you're up against. So I think that the proper preparation is super important. Now, I think the major thing that everybody's been waiting for, and it's not really going to be a surprise to you, but the way to think about the difference between home staging and decorating is actually very, very simple. Hi guys, put your names in the chat so I can see who's there, because all I see is Facebook user on this software I'm using, which is the app StreamYard. It doesn't allow me to see who is actually there unless you identify yourself. So you're all coming in right at the right time, because so the major difference, and the way you should be thinking about it, is very simple. When people decorate, they decorate for their lifestyle, they decorate for their own personal taste, they decorate with their own budget in mind. So if you, for example, like orange, which personally it's a color that I'm not really keen on. But if you like orange and you're decorating the house for yourself, then you might choose, some orange tones. You might decorate it in the Moroccan style because that's what you like. And that's perfectly okay because you're living in that house and it corresponds, it suits your lifestyle and it suits your tastes. But when somebody comes to buy your house, then it's completely the opposite. They might hate orange. And the first thing that they might think is, oh my God, I need to repaint this house. I hate it. It looks so dark. I don't want the work. I'll just move on and I'll go to the next house, okay? So something as simple as paint could change a buyer's total perspective. And I think that is a big, big, major difference of seeing decorating versus staging. Now, staging, as I was explaining before, for those of you who missed it, there is a little portion of the home staging process which is decorating, which is fine. Yes, we beautify the house, we make sure that it looks attractive, we position the furniture, we throw some cushions, and we put artwork on the walls and some accessories, and we make it look really pretty. So of course, that part, you can call it decorating. But the staging process encompasses a lot more than just that. That's what I wanted to say. And by the way, if anybody has questions or comments, please type them in the chat because I'm alone, but I can see the chat right next to me. So I'll be very happy to answer your questions or comments. And I see my friend Ina is watching. Hi, good morning. So, the way to explain it when I was taking classes on staging, 15 years ago, it's that the way to see it is decorating and home staging are pretty much the opposite. Decorating is for your own taste, and staging is the opposite. It's to everyone else's taste. So it has to be, by definition, it has to be very neutral. It has to be updated, but without going too much. It has to be done in a way that it pleases the most people possible, because at the end of the day, yes, you stage for a client who you think might be buying your house. So for example, if you live in a suburban area, in your neighborhood, it's mostly families with young children, then chances are that the people who you're marketing to will be a family with young children. So when you stage your house, you'll probably be thinking about that type of clientele. But you could be really surprised. It could be somebody completely different. And today, in our society, we have so many different races and religions and people downsizing or upsizing and moving and different types of combinations of family units. So it is very difficult to keep your personal taste and hope that whoever walks in says, wow, this is really beautiful. I want to live here. Usually it's not the case. And there's certain techniques, there are certain tips. They're not necessarily very complicated, but it's something that you must be aware of on how to make your house look like that. The easiest example I usually give my clients is, if in the area where you live, let me know if they do like model homes, okay? Like the new builders, new construction, do they decorate model homes? Type in the chat and let me know. Hi, Michelle. And so this is what you should be thinking of, okay? If you ever been to a new construction, you've been to a model home, you saw how it's decorated, this is the type of decorating or staging that should be as your end result. But before you get there, you probably have to do a lot of other things, because remember, those homes were built, they're brand new. So, when they built them, they painted them fresh, they painted them one of the, very trendy colors, they bought brand new furniture, plus they also obviously have the budget that probably you don't have. And by the way, I also wanted to tell you something that's kind of a little aside note, but I get a lot of requests from Quora, where people ask questions about home staging and how to prepare their house for sale and stuff. And, I try to answer as many questions as possible. So this weekend, somebody was asking but she was asking like a very general question about what are the important things to do to stage your house, which is, it's a big topic and it's not something that I can answer in 5 minutes. But there was one person who answered her, and I totally disagreed, because that person said, well, what you should be doing is removing all of your furniture from your house, and then you should be replacing it with rental furniture, call rental companies around your area, and try to stage it with all rented furniture and accessories and move out. And I'm like, well, okay, 99% of the people, it's probably not something that they're going to want to do, or it's just not feasible for them. So yes, I do address vacant homes, and I'm going to make a topic one of these days. We're going to make a topic of our maybe Facebook Lives, or just Facebook Live trainings if you are interested in that. But the people who I really work with are people who have occupied homes, meaning lived in homes where you live, and you do have to prepare your house for sale while you're living in it. And that's, of course, is a lot more difficult. Mazurik says she disagree. Okay, you disagree with what? Let me know. So when you're living in the house, it becomes a lot more complicated, because not only you have to work with what you have, which necessarily might not be the best. You might want to replace few pieces of furniture with rented things, but you still have to maintain the house. And that's also difficult, because I get a lot of people who ask me questions about, how to live in the house after it's staged with their kids and stuff, but that's another topic. So let's just continue about decorating and staging. So another thing I wanted to mention is that I get a lot of questions about how trendy should my decor be, okay? When I'm staging my house for sale, well, how trendy should it be? Again, every house is different. Every style of house is different. Every age is different. Your situation is unique. It's different from everybody else's. So it's a very difficult question to answer without actually seeing. I do a lot of online consultations. So, but in general, it doesn't have to be super, super trendy. It still has to remain neutral, but you can put some trendy or updated accessories and artwork to bring it up to a certain level. So let me give you an example. I think every year I write a blog post, an article about the paint colors of the year. Okay, this was the last 3 years, I think. And I do some research, and I look for the biggest companies out there, like Benjamin Moore and Farrell Barrow and other companies. And I see they all, amuse themselves to create colors of the year. Sometimes those colors are a little on a wild side, let's say. So I remember a couple of years ago, it was a coral. Now, I don't remember exactly the name of the color, but it was a very, very coral kind of between a bright pink and a bright orange. And that was considered to be a very trendy color. So, okay, it's great. Some people might like it, and it might look beautiful in your house, but I would not necessarily recommend painting your house that color for staging. Now, there are ways around it. If it's a color that you really like, there's things that could be done. So, for example, you could paint your walls a very neutral color, and you could throw in a few accessories of that trendy coral color or whatever other color you like. So there are ways to work around it, but in general, you still have to always think about keeping your house neutral. And Mazurik says that she disagrees to move everything out. Occupied houses are a challenge, but so satisfying when it's selling. Yes, that's exactly, my thoughts. I'm glad you're supporting me on that, because yes, occupied homes, lived in homes are harder. And that is why I specialize. And this is why, guys, I'm here for you, because I work with sellers of occupied homes, and I want to utilize everything you've got as much as possible, so it becomes not an extremely expensive process for you, but whatever needs to be done needs to be done. So Again, let me just repeat. So when you are going to be getting to the decorating part of the staging, which is the last part, and before that, there's certain things that need to be done. So you might need to look at the infrastructure of your house, some structural issues, some repairs, some fixes. So there's a whole list of things that need to be done before. Remember, the model home, okay, that you should always keep that in mind. Remember neutral. Remember that the decor that you're trying to create, the ambiance you're trying to create should be something that is for everyone. So not for you, not for your sister-in-law, not for your friends who are going to give you advice, not for your real estate agent who is going to give you advice. No, it really has to please as many people as possible who are going to come in their house. And basically people like to buy turnkey solutions and they're willing to pay a lot more money for it. And that's really the beauty of it. So if you invest wisely and you don't overinvest, that money is going to come back to you double and triple and quadruple fold and the sale. Let me see what other notes I have here. Yeah, I wanted to also address something that might be a little harsh, and I will try not to be too harsh, but I also see a lot of people, how could I say that? And I don't want to be sexist, but usually men don't care about decorating, and they just want the job done, and they just want to know how much it's going to cost, and that's it, okay? And they don't, and you do, and I can do whatever I think is necessary. Women, on the other hand, a lot of times it's a little bit more complicated because maybe they're more attached, emotionally attached, okay? And I want to talk about emotional attachment because it's one of the reasons why home sellers have such a hard time doing what needs to be done themselves without professional help, professional advice, such as me or another stager. One of the reasons is that we tend to be, and me including, I love my house, and we are emotionally attached. So we tend to think that our house is just fine the way it is. Maybe you've put a lot of time, thought, energy into decorating. And again, people are different. So I do get clients who will tell me, oh, I'm not good at decorating. I never really cared about it. So, can you tell me? I really don't know where to start. I don't know what to prioritize. So that's fine. It's totally fine. That's what I'm here for. And, we go step by step. And that's why I have my programs. And I'm going to tell you about something that's coming up. And it's announced today. It's actually already on the group cover if you saw it, but we'll talk about it at the end. So and some people actually think that their house is beautiful, but what you think is beautiful, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to try to making it, insulting or harsh, but if it's beautiful to you, it doesn't mean that the potential buyers who are going to come in, it's going to please them or that they're going to think it's beautiful. So remember that you're not objective, okay? This is one of the most difficult things for a home seller to do is to become critical and objective towards their own house once they decide to put it for sale. So you have to stop thinking about it as your home. It becomes a marketing product. So I'm kind of going on a tangent, but it's important. So the other thing is you don't notice necessarily things anymore. You're so used to living in your house. So that is why a professional advice is so important. And specifically in terms of decor, the same thing, okay? We're not trained in general. There's some people who have talent, there are people who have natural ability, or maybe they studied in home decorating. But most of us, we don't necessarily have that ability to see the room the way it should look. And we tend to put our furniture when we first move in, and it kind of just stays there, right? I know there are people who move furniture around. I'm not one of them, but if you are, let me know. Type it in the comments and let me know if you're somebody who loves moving furniture around. But most people just don't have that vision. And what happens is by having somebody who's neutral and objective and not emotionally attached, when we see your house with our eyes, we notice a lot of things, and so many times I can't even tell you, you know, when I have them change stuff around, like it's their stuff, but I see different ways of using it and redecorating. I call it redesign. Let's call it redesign. So I use the stuff that they have to redecorate the house as much as possible, and then they're gonna say, you know, you are like, I wish I would have met you before, because now my house looks so great, I don't want to move. Thank you, Mazurik. She's so lovely. She wrote, I saw it, you're doing great. And so this is what I wanted to tell you. So I want to ask you if you guys have any questions, specifically decor versus home staging. So to summarize what we're talking about, home staging is a process that involves a lot of different other steps, and decorating is just a little part, which is at the end. And within that part, you don't have to be a professional decorator, but you do need to know certain things, and there's certain specific basic features or functions that you need to understand. And when you are doing that, you know, you really have to do it with a critical and a very objective mind, and to the point of thinking about what other people, how they're going to view your house, not how you are used to viewing your house. Now, that is kind of what I was going to talk about today, but I also want to tell you that I'm doing something super exciting. And I'm going to be running a free challenge in this group. There's going to be a lot of new people coming in, and it's going to be 2.5-day challenge, which is called the Home Value Multiplier Formula. And basically, I want people who are actually going to participate, who are going to work, and because there's going to be a little homework, there's going to be only two daily trainings in the Facebook group, exactly the same way as now, and it's going to be about 45 minutes each day. And the goal for you guys is to walk away after that challenge with a real tangible result, okay, with something that's actionable. So we're going to go through the process, really, like the strategies of what's important about home staging, the process that you should go through, and then how to self-assess, okay? And that's a little bit what we're talking about today, but we're going to go step back and start at the beginning and look at what you need to do to assess objectively, critically, the state of affairs of your house, so you know where you're starting. So then on that, you can build to know where you're going to be going to do the right job, so you can sell the house quickly and for most money. So look for the link. I'm going to post the link to the challenge right now, and it's going to be, you have to sign up for it. So you have to actually go to the page and sign up with your email address. I'll be sending some stuff out, and it's going to be running in a couple of weeks exactly. So the 20th to 22nd of July. And then we'll be talking about my paid program as well, which is going to be the 5-day academy to help you with the staging process and using me as your personal home stager. And you'll have 12 months to use my help. So we'll talk about all of that. If you have any questions, please type them in. And if not, just let me know if you're signing up for the challenge, and I hope to see you in there in a couple of weeks. We'll work through it. It's only 2 days. You'll be able to submit some photos, and I will be picking some people to do a hot seat and kind of go through their photos and critique them, okay? So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I encourage you to sign up. I'll put the link, but it's easy. It's homestagingstepbystep.com/formula. So I'll see you soon. If there's no more questions, then I'm going to say goodbye for today, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.